Hey guys, you're going to give me 1 second to share. I know you will. I had to go grab the old computer because the new one I did not have all of the other stuff. It's always amazing at how much stuff um, you have to configure with your Bluetooth devices. And I was like, yeah, I don't have it. Just give me 1 minute. Let's go take a look. So I can just share it real quick, make sure the groups are there. Or I can share them to the groups. And then when you hop on, let me know that you're here. I get it. I said yes to that. Great. Now I'm going to share too. Oops. Okay, let's do here. Give me a second. Let me just share a couple more places. Make sure when you hop on, you say hi. So I can make sure comments are working at least in one spot. Because I am sharing to groups. Oh, this is not. I don't understand what's happening. Yep, I already said that. I already said that too. Great. I'm going to go ahead and tag a couple of people. Quick, and then as you get on. Oh, Lena's here. I say Lena. Okay, sorry. I'm just going to do that. And then. Sorry, I'm closing all kinds of things right now. And one more share to our actual. Hi, Myra. Okay. Hopefully. Okay. Hi, Nancy. I'm using the old computer. There's all these things popping up. It's actually not as loud as it was. I'm starting to feel bad because he re-cleaned the fan yesterday when he tried to put the new fan in, or day before yesterday, when he tried to put the new fan in and didn't even try to turn the computer on other than to yesterday when I got the hard drive. And now it's actually not as loud. So I'm like, I probably could have gone, once he did that, I probably could have gone a little bit longer without having to get a new computer that is literally the bane of my existence. I couldn't even get the monitor to connect down here. There's all kinds of, it's fine because I'm not going to complain about the fact that I got a new computer, but I hate setting up computers. So I'm going to make sure that I can see comments. Great. Hopefully they're just going to scroll the way I want them to. Okay. So there's a part of me that almost didn't come on tonight. But what I'm going to say is that I literally had a plan that all I was going to do these 5 days I had off was sit down here in this seat and paint and do the flowers and do coasters, and that's what I was going to do. This is the first time I've sat in this seat since Thursday. So my girls were starting to get all wrestly, and my desk is a mess. You guys are going to see it. It's fine. You don't care because I've not seen a single person who has. Hi, Rufus. Hi. I haven't seen a single person whose craft space, other than these professionals who try to trick us and be like, yeah, look at my pristine craft space while I do this tutorial. That is never going to be me. So hopefully you guys can all hear me okay. I hope. Hopefully the light's going to be good when I do this. Just not even prepared a little bit. There's my, sorry. I was like, oh, we're going to be fine. Do I have a jar over here that doesn't have disgusting water in it? No. So just a minute. I got to find a clean jar. Give me a second. I know I have one. Just have to get it. Okay. I grabbed two, in fact, because I'm actually going to grab one to like wet my brush a little bit. And then where is my little, that's oil, this is water. It's not usually the one I use. That's also okay. And then let me grab the watercolors because I didn't prepare it all. So I'm going to show you guys the watercolors that I'm going to be using. I think this is the one I had been sending to some people. I don't know. I have these both. So what I'm going to explain to you is kind of playing around with these. Just make sure that these comments are actually going to pop up. And it's going to move up. Okay. So I need a rubber band too because this is going to be hair in our faces. When I was playing around testing watercolors, I have pearlescence, I have metallics, I have these plain colors, and the plain colors turned out so well. I'm going to show you the piece that I've kind of used as the example. This one here, I know the light's bad when I put it up too close, but I'll make sure I'll have it down here on the table when I flip the camera. I was just playing with it. Because one of them that I did, I was super careful, real delicate. It was still faster than trying to shade the whole thing, like the base color, and like shade the whole thing in pan pastels, which is still I keep looking at myself over here, which is still a really beautiful look. However, I don't want to take that much time to do my coasters. So, get myself some water here. Literally came down here, and as soon as I got the computer plugged in, I got the live together, and I was like, click live, didn't have anything set up. Spilling water all over myself. It's fine. It's fine. Not even upset. So, let me go ahead and grab a couple of these little brushes. I'm going to use the student ones now. I'm not only going to use the student ones, I don't think, just because the student ones I like to use. Sure, these comments are going when we are doing pan pastels, because they have bristles, which I can't get too close because it'll get kind of weird with the light, but they have bristles that are soft the way we need them to be, but they also hold up a little bit better. I'll say hold up, but I don't get super upset when I ruin my cheaper student brush than if I ruin a black swirl. However, I have and probably will grab a black swirl because some of these like little itty bitties that I almost never use for anything except for details. Because I'm using the watercolor and I'm putting paint, I'm putting it on there. I'm not really trying to rub it in. I can use those. And I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit thicker of a brush. So I can show you what I'm talking about. I have all these brushes everywhere. So, Deborah, how are you? Those are going crazy. So, I'm going to show you guys what I do when adding the watercolors. Okay, these are just 2 palettes I got. I want to probably Amazon. I know I've sent links to a couple of people of some watercolors I would suggest for just the plain base coat colors, so it will soak in. When you're using the pearlescence or the metallics, what ends up happening is that mica powder that's in there, it doesn't allow for it to really get in. It's not that the water doesn't get in, but the color doesn't really soak in to where it's engraved. So when you put the water over it to pat it down with the paper towel, it really does take all the color off. It's a little sad. But what the metallics and the pearlescence would be good for is any kind of details or anything that you're going to want to do. So I'm just going to show you how we've done this. Wendy. Hi, Terry. Hi, Wendy. Sorry. And when I flip my camera and I start painting, I might not necessarily be able to keep up with comments a whole lot. I will try to, but so I'm going to kind of open these up and I'm going to show you guys how I go about it. I'm going to go ahead and grab another couple. That one. Just do another couple of these brushes. Sorry. I organized myself. I over-organized myself. I mean, I'm just going to grab this stubby brush just because it is still one of my favorites for certain things here and there. So I'm going to be flipping you guys over so you can see where we are, and then you guys, I'll give you a little bit of time to say, hey, paint this one, paint that one. And this is, I'm just going to be plopping, I think I'm going to do this one. I'm going to be plopping color down, blooping, I like to say blooping color down. These coasters, please keep in mind that I'm showing you this on right now. They are my not good enough to sell coasters. So these are the ones that I've already kind of ground a design off so I can use them for test coasters. And those are the ones that I save for myself if I'm gonna play around and do coaster stuff. So I'm gonna pick a handful here. And I'm gonna try, like, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a limit once we get started, where I'm gonna try and add color to as many of these as I can in about an hour, because I'm gonna let it sit, and then I normally let it sit and like really soak in. So if we get to the part where I rinse it off, great, and if we don't, then stay tuned until tomorrow. However, I'm gonna do this. Try and get these both open and move things out of my way. So many things. I always have like a little towel or something by me, because I do, when I'm using the paint, knocking things over, I do sometimes like wipe my brush. I do have a paper towel here too if I was dry brushing the trucks the other day. So let me just do that and get myself a clean side of the paper towel. These dirty things out of the way, and then, hi Raquel, how are you? Okay, I don't have, so normally, I don't know where it's at. You guys are going to be like, that's Renee's tagline. I don't know where it's at. Because I took them upstairs. Hold on. I know where one is at. Let me, stay tuned. Don't leave. Just let me get to one where I can grab it, so I can show you what I'm talking about when I say take one of these bottles with the thing on it. The thing with the thing and the thing. This isn't even the right one, but that's okay. It's pretty close. So normally I have the little tiny bottles like this, but they're the little round ones. Well, this one actually has a tip in here. They're the little round ones, and they have like a longer needle tip. These are, I think they're for cake decorating, to be honest with you. But I use them for what I want. So, not really sure how that's supposed to fit in here. I don't know. It's supposed to be another thing. Guess we're not going to use the needle tip. However, I'm going to go ahead and put some water in here because that's what I wet my, hi Marianne, it's how I wet my paints. So, move that here, get some water in here. And then I will flip the camera over and show you. Oh, good. I'm so glad you love it. I get to be a little bit of a nervous wreck and make a mess. And, but I love doing it and spilling water on myself. It's so refreshing. But I love painting too. And I love teaching everybody what I've learned. And so that's just what we're going to do today. Or what I've discovered. Discovery time. So I will definitely try to keep up with the comments, but I'm going to flip this camera around and I'm going to have to do a little thing to see if we can't get it to be in the right direction. I want it to do this, so that way it's like you're looking at it from my view. Try and get close where I'm not going to be hitting I don't want to be hitting the camera, which I can already tell I'm going to, so let me just move it up a little bit. Hopefully that's good. So the four that I'm just going to do little demos on today are this one, which you do need to be closer. You're like, I'm getting seasick. So am I. Just gonna try here. So it's gonna be this Thanksgiving one. See if I can reduce the glare here. Because they are sanded, they actually do create a little bit more of a glare. So give me un momento. Lower. Let's do this one lower. See if we can get rid of some glare. I don't know what this is supposed to be for. Nothing really. You guys are going to see my shadows everywhere. All right, you're going to get the gist of it. It's so funny because on camera, it actually doesn't even look as close as it really and truly is. Grab this really quick and make sure. All right, I think we're good. Okay, I'm just going to say we're good. So I'm just going to show you guys how I'm going to throw this color on. So I take my little water thing here. Try and move the paints over too. I'm going to move it up at least for a minute. All the stupid equipment I buy, and then it's like, no, that's not working. It's not working. So I'm going to do I don't know. Let's do a red. So what I'm just going to do is I'm actually just going to scoop. No, I'm not. Hold on. Well, we have to poke a hole into that. So just hold on a minute. Didn't realize that was a thing. I'm actually going to do this and see if that little needle will fit now, I suppose. This is how we do things. Oh, look at that. Well, we're going to try it. No, we're not. Never mind. Forget I spoke. Totally beyond the point. I'm not even going to use that one anymore because I cut that thing off. So I'm going to take this water and I'm going to put a little bit in that red. That's why I like the ones with the little needle tips, because they let me control the water a little bit better. So when I'm in this, I'm going in here and I'm like, really, I want it. A lot of times when you paint with watercolor, especially if you're doing it on canvas or paper, you want some of the color to be light. I actually want this color to be pretty concentrated, which that is now. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that off. And then I'm actually going to take this brush and I'm going to do like the berries. I'm going to go ahead and try and get that a little closer. Let's see if that's helpful. Okay. Now it's hard to see. So there's like a little poinsettia here, one there. I don't know. I'm just going to say that's an apple there. And then like these berries here and berries here. So I'm gonna bloop some color down onto that stuff. I'm gonna do the blooping method. Just kind of, you guys can see that. I'm like tapping it down, tapping it in. It is bleeding a little bit. I'm not really gonna worry about that. I'm gonna bloop it here. I'm gonna bloop it on these berries. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just putting it. These aren't like the leaves where I really didn't care if like everything had like a very similar thing, but I'm still not being as crazy careful, because you see how it's bleeding into some spots. I'm not going to freak out about that. So there's the red I blooped. I'm going to go ahead and bloop a little more red here. And actually, as it gets thicker, as the paint is getting thicker, just make sure, as the paint is a little, see how it's kind of bleeding there? I'm not super worried about that, right? I'm going to show you why. First, I'm going to do green. This red's going to stay wet for a while, and I really need to try not to move the paints around, because I really do have the red overflowing there. I am going to do, I'm going to do this green. I'm just going to dribble a little bit in there. Take this brush and I'm going to get that color really worked in. I'm just going to get the whole top of it wet. Just make sure that it's being saturated. It'll actually be faster on the next coaster if I can use some of the same colors. So now I'm going to take this brush, get some green on it, and I'm going to leave some green. I'm also going to do some brown in there. So leave the green there. I'm going to do a little bit down here on these little grass pieces. I'm going to do these poinsettia leaves. Now this is a little bit harder. Do you see how it's spreading all on the sign? It's because this whole area is carved, right? Like, so it doesn't have, there's not a lot of like that black space that where the engraving hasn't been lasered. There's not a lot of that. I'm not freaking out about it. See how it's bleeding? Still not going to freak out about it. And it's going to be hard for those of you I know that are like me, where we want to be precision. We want it to be perfect and beautiful as we're painting it. This is not that. See, that's green, that's green. I'm going to do, actually wanted it to be a little bit thicker. The reason it's bleeding so much, I'm just going to try and get it a little bit more concentrated. More on that green flower, or green leaf, green leaf. Those aren't bad. Put a little more on this one. Those, do some green down in this. Okay. So, now I'm going to get to, what color do I want the hat? I think I'm going to do blue. I think. Marianne, they are, I don't even know. They don't actually have a label on any of the containers. I will share the link. I'll share the link when I'm done with this on Amazon. I actually shared it with a couple of ladies today or yesterday or something. They're like, it's at $8. It's not expensive. I'm not using top of the line watercolors, and I'm clearly making a mess while I'm doing this. Probably should be a little bit careful with this one because the carvings are so much closer together. I'm actually going to let that sit for a minute, but I'm not going to be, because I just want to show you how it's all going to work out. So, and I might as well get myself some orange and some brown. Let's just go ahead and get those colors wet and ready to go. That could have sounded really bad. I think I'm going to do a little lighter brown. Yeah, I'm going to do this one. And then I'm going to do sorry, I'm going to do these couple here. 1, 2. And then I might as well do a white because I am going to do his beard in white. That should be good. His pants. Maybe his pants I'll do a little darker blue. The one thing I want you guys, the colors I got at Michael's, same as what you have. Remember, I can't remember which ones you got. I'm sure they're fine. I've used the watercolors that actually come in the tubes as well, because you can water them down. I have some of those, and I bought those watercolors. I bought all of that paint um, as I was getting back into painting, like ceramics and whatever. I mean, I painted ceramics with my grandmother when I was little, but she did glazes, so I didn't really know 100% like what paint should I use when I'm painting ceramics. So, of course, I bought a bunch of the really thick acrylic paint in the tubes. It's a lot more expensive than, you know, the deco art paint. Um, but so, yeah, any of the watercolors are going to be fine. I would just suggest that you don't have an expectation for the metallics or the pearlescents to be used for this part of the process. They can be used for details and things like that, but just they're not going to soak in the way that we want them to for this part of the process. So have I mixed? I thought I did orange. I did 2 browns. Oh, I did. Where did I do the orange? Huh. Hold on. I didn't actually get an orange. So, or did I? That's kind of an orange. This one over here. Oh, I actually did already do that one. I just didn't notice that I did it. Perfect. Okay, so that's really overflowing with water. Okay. So, as I make more mess, I'm going to go ahead and get some blue on my hat. I think the reason that the other one I said this took me under 5 minutes was because I had already been working on other ones that I was super, super careful on. And all of my paint already had color. So I wasn't lying to you. I just didn't have to put water in my paint. It already had water. So you just see, I'm just letting it soak in there. You know, as I get closer to where these other colors are, you know, because I do want to try and keep for this image. The other one I didn't care because it was leaves. They're supposed to all be kind of different colors. Not that this can't be too, but I don't want his beard to be blue. You know, it'll have a little blue in it, but that's okay because then it's also where the pastel's coming at. So I'm going to do his coat the same way. So again, I'll say blooping, but I'm just kind of setting it on there. Those gloves are going to be a different color, but that's okay. Do this. See how it's going in his beard? I'm not going to freak out about that. It's going to be hard, but I'm not gonna. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this blue. Mix it up a little bit more. And put this down on his pants. I don't know that it's really going to make a difference if they're different blues. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but do that there. And then going to, sorry, there's a berry I missed. All right, so I'm going to get into this brown. I'm doing this, guys. I'm just taking it all in here. I missed some like delicate leaves on this sign. I'm not worried about that either because I can come back and hit those when I go into like clean up anything, do any details that I might want to do, add anything, bring out the darkness and anything. I'm not going to worry about it. This green is all on here. I might end up cleaning that up a little bit because again, it happens, but I'm not stressing out about it. Up here, missed a little green leaf there, but I'm not going to worry about that either. See how I'm getting it all over the black? This is not a problem. It's more of a you panic a little bit more when it bleeds into the other colors. I actually want to do his boots brown. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm doing this super fast. I'm trying not to be careful with it. See how much of the blue got in his beard here? I'm not going to panic. I am going to put more blue there. And I'm going to make sure. Yeah, that should be okay. I'm going to go grab some orange for the pumpkin. Orange. I need some brown too. See, there's bleeded up into there. Not gonna freak out. I seriously made such a mess with the other one. That's kind of the point I wanted to show you guys. Like, you can also make a mess. It's really okay. All right, I'm gonna do this basket. This color brown. Might go back in with the darker brown eventually. Actually gonna sop up just a little bit of this water so it'll dry faster. Give me a second. I'm just kind of, because there's a lot of water there, I'm just taking a paper towel and getting a little of it up. So I might have to go back over with some concentrated color. I'm going to go back over this with some of the brown, but first I'm going to get some white in his beard. There's a lot of blue in there, so I'm going to sop up a little bit. Oh, hello, Renee, not yellow. I don't even have water in yellow. Now, the reason that I'm not panicked because color has bled is that this isn't any different than any other time that you paint. You can fix it. You know, there's a lot of mistakes that we fix with pan pastels. Again, I could have been careful with this one because there's so much carving that I'm going in to do. But it's pretty hard when all of the carvings are so close together because they just naturally bleed. You've got that space where it's been carved where it naturally bleeds. And this is where some people might say, nope, then I just prefer to do pastels. But I like knowing that I'm just going to go in and shade this with pastels later. Like, I'm going to fix any mistakes. I'm going to fix any color bleed. I'm going to do all of that with minimal pastel work. So I'm just going to get that on here. I think I'm going to do his gloves. Brown. I know it matches the sign, but that's actually okay. to probably get a little bit of that blue up. So just give me a sec. Brown on. And then we can go back in and get some more. See, and this is more the consistency of the paint when I was doing it, because I had already done other ones, so it was a little bit not as watery when I had done that other one. So okay, now his nose is going to be a flesh color. And then, oh, I need some more blue in here. He's got lots of orange and stuff in here now, so like that. Okay. I think I'm going to do the belt. Darn it. I want to do it black, but I don't have black ready. So give me, actually, I don't want to do it black because that'll just kind of mesh in. I'll just do it gray. Try not to put as much water in. Make sure I'm not missing. Oh gosh, sorry. I see it's not. Hi, Kara. See, it's not automatically scrolling, so I was missing. Hi, Kara. Hi, Myra. Hi, Colleen. Yeah, you can use the pencils, the watercolor pencils if you want. Great way to shade. Yes, I actually use chalk pencils as well for shading, but here's the thing that I'm going to just say until you guys are sick of hearing me say it. Art has no rules. It just doesn't. No rules. No rules. No rules. No rules. There's nothing that you're going to do that somebody can come up to you and say, you can't do it that way. You tell me I can't do something a certain kind of way, I'm going to show you exactly why. I'm going to figure it out and do it that way. So that's just how I feel. My opinion. Not everyone has to agree with me. Nobody has to agree with me, actually. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit, stuff soak in, and I'm going to move on to this cow, which is going to have the same kind of thing that we had with the, sorry guys, allergies are killing me, so I'm sorry if I'm making that awful noise. But so kind of the same thing. There's so many carvings here. It's going to bleed. I guarantee it. I promise. I'm actually going to go put white in first here for that reason. See if that helps. As these are getting thicker. It really depends. Like that one is soaking in. I might even go back in. Actually, there's a little bit of, put some white there. I might actually go back in and just put another like blooping amount of color down. Because I want to make sure it's really, really in there in those carvings. But I'm going to rinse it off with water. So I'm really just going to kind of let it soak in and dry. And then I'm actually going to show you guys how I'm going to rinse it off with water and pat it down with a paper towel. So then after that, you're going to want to wait. I would probably wait overnight. But I would wait for a few hours before you bust out your pan pastels. Just to make sure that you're not transferring any of that moisture from the carvings into the pan pastels. To me, that would be tragic. Or chalk pastels, whichever ones you're using. If they're the, regular chalk kind. I'm gonna go ahead and go into this. There's the ball. His hat. Sorry, I gotta flip it around. I moved my things. So I'm actually gonna do that. I have to get so close too. I'm like, you guys are going to see my head down in this image here in a minute. Might be able to get through this one and one more. I don't know. I said I was going to give it about an hour once I started painting. So, all right. And then I do want, I want some white on this blanket. Go ahead and do the edges. Put it in here. that in, down in a little kind of fringes. Go ahead and do that. Actually, might not get to getting color on all of them because I want to show you guys how you can clean up some of the stuff too. So we'll just see. All right, do that there. I feel like I want some red in that blanket, but I need some more white. So I'm going to go ahead and do some white in there. A little too much. I'm going to do some white on these dots. White over on these dots. These couple dots. Make sure. Missing comments. Okay. I'm going to go do. There, some dots there, no dots that way there. I want white anywhere else. Okay. I'm gonna make him, her, him, her. If I were a darker friend. Try to put some water in. That red. And then I'm gonna let that get mixed up. I'm gonna do him kind of like a red-brown cow. Okay. So I'm gonna go. Some red in some of his little darker areas that are where you can kind of already see some natural shading. Let's see. It's bleeding. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to do some. He's got a little ear sticking out over here. Just do his mouth. I'm going to put some brown over it. And then I'll get some of that brown. I'm going to mix it up again. I like it to be where it's just a little bit thicker. And I'm going to put that everywhere else. Not going to worry too terribly much about his eyes because I'm going to actually try and show you guys how to go in there just like a detail after with some regular acrylic paint, some high flow acrylic to make that really pop. His ears. A little bit lighter there. Got some here. Make sure to get all the fur. And his fur kind of, like it has those little wisps. So make sure you get that. Think about the wisps there and there. It's darker. As well. Okay, I'm going to go in with the green. I'm like looking over here like I'm adding a little more orange into that. A little more. just show you guys. I'm trying to get it close. It's kind of out of the way, but like it had really soaked in good. When I had done the guy with the leaves, my paint had been thick enough that it literally just sat on the top of. I really didn't think it was going to work. It was a little concerning. So I'm gonna. But as it dries, you'll see it lightens up quite a bit. So see how much that got in there. It's fine. I'm not going to freak out. So I'm going to go get some of this green that I now have that is definitely much thicker. That's really had time to kind of sit in there. And I'm going to go in and just bloop, bloop, bloop it. This is definitely being a little more delicate because it's not a bunch of fall leaves together, but I'm just going to go in with this. Go where that green is. Got a glare, forgive me. Remember, these are not the coasters that I would have sold. That's why I'm painting them. So if you're looking at that like, really, Renee, we've seen so much better from you. Well, that's because these coasters have been sanded down and re-lasered multiple times. That's one too. Sometimes it's even hard for me to see. Is that what is that? There's actually some leftovers from the last carving. Oh, last engraving. I think I'm going to do red Christmas ornament ball in here. I actually think I'm going to do red on that blanket. Let's see. I keep looking up. I wish this thing automatically scrolled. It's fine. Okay. Here with the red. Clearly not being. I just want to show you guys how this can work. Not giving you necessarily the best example, but want you to see how you can get color laid down on coasters. And these have a lot of detail in them, so even this. Let's see. There's some red berries up there. I don't want to get some red berries here. And berries and berries. Okay. Let's do that. Do some right there. I think that might be supposed to be a leaf, but don't worry about it too much. I'm going to go ahead and do some gray on these hooves. So we can shade that in with some darker black, but grant his nose. What color do we want his hat? We're going to do red. We're going to make him matchy. This other one's drying up a little bit, so it's going to show you kind of what happens. And I'm going to just do gray on his arms. I'm going to do a brown basket. I think that's some overhang on the blanket too, but again, being a test coaster, it's not as clear. Let's just get some red over there. Just I don't know how that's going to look because that isn't a real super clean carving at all. So like designs aren't coming through, but that's okay. I'll just do some red around this white in case it's going to stick here. Let me grab that green because I think that's a leaf. I'm just gonna go over here. I would probably do brown in them a little bit more, but I really am just wanting to show you guys how to do this color like this and then bring out definition with pastels. So I'm gonna give him. Oh, I'm gonna worry about his eyes later. So I'm gonna let that sit. Since the time that we have is going on, we're just doing two. So do you guys kind of see now how that blue is lightening up there and the green is lightening up? I actually want more green. I want more green in those carvings. So I'm going to go in here. It helps when it's a little thicker. You'll see that it is drying on the black. That's also okay because I'm going to show you guys how you're going to be able to clean that up. Oh, I didn't do the. Let's do a kind of a reddish pine cone in there. I missed the pine cone. Actually, I think I want this color on his gloves. I'm just going to add it and see what happens. Just a little bit more contrasting than the boots. Actually, I think I like it for the boots too. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this right over the boots. Because it does soak in and it dries up the way that it does. And then you're like, oh, I need a little more. So let that soak in and then let me see if there's any questions while I don't really have, oh, I guess I have this little fan over here. I guess I could point it this way. I think I got unplugged. We're just going to let that sit for a minute. All right, let me flip it back around. Hold on, I'm upside down. All right. Just go. Okay, making sure I haven't missed anything. So you saw I'm making a mess. I'm not trying to be careful. I probably should be a little bit more careful on these because a lot of the engravings on this one, all of these leaves, even though they were blending and merging, they're fall leaves. So I didn't care if purple went into brown and brown went into red and yellow went in. I didn't care about any of that. And it's not really going to matter here either because I still haven't shaded this one yet. So when I come back tomorrow and we start working on shading and doing stuff like that, I'll start with this one because I really want to play with this one. These, I really want to show you guys how easy it is for the stuff to come off. But what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have to, because I do want to let it dry. Because I want to make sure that I'm seeing that it's all in the carvings. And yeah, I want to make sure it's dry. So once it's dry, then I'll go rinse them off. So I'll let them sit overnight. See, I've got some, I have a part of my pumpkin I didn't shade orange. What? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So once it's dry, I will not rinse them off before I show you guys how to do it. But that's literally what I mean when I'm saying blooping paint or blooping paint. You're like, what do you mean by blooping? This is what I mean by blooping. Where, yes, I probably should have been much more careful in some of these spots. I want you guys to understand and see how even if you get this paint all over the place, it's okay. Like I'm adding more to the red poinsettias because I'm like, oh, all the brown got in there. So I want the red poinsettias. I want them to have red And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of the green where the leaves should be. I'm putting it over the brown where all the brown bled in, because now the paint is definitely a super ton thicker. Here, let me flip it back around. You guys are like, just like, oh, why don't you tell us what you're doing? Show us what you're doing. The paint is a lot thicker. In fact, there's like a leaf thing here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of do that. But so, like, I'm glooping it down. I'm not going to stress out. I think I want some more blue in here. I really want that to be in your face blue. So, I used it when the paint was super watery. If you look right now and you see how much thicker it is because it's been sitting, that will also prevent it from bleeding as much. So I probably should have prepared my paints. It was thicker paint when I did it on the leaf one. So it definitely helps when the paint's been sitting and is a little thicker, not as runny. But just understand you can always go back over it like I am. Oh, I got some blue on his nose. Let me get some of this. See, this is much thicker now. I'm just going to put that back there. So, like, not going to stress out about it. And I'm going to let this dry. And then I'll show you guys once I rinse it off. Yes, there's going to be some color bleed in some spots. 100%. I'm never going to lie to you and say there's not. If you look at this one, there's color bleed. I mean, there really is. There's some brown in the blue, and there's some green. Like, I didn't even go back. I just threw that color on and I let it dry, and then I rinsed it off. There should be more blue in the hat right here. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pop that on really quick. So if you guys see, I don't even know if I put blue on there, to be honest. I might have just missed that part of the hat. So this one I literally painted a month or so ago. I'm going to go ahead because I'm like, well, I want a little more blue. I'm just going to pop it on. If you go to rinse it off and you're like, yep, nope, I need a little bit more color. I want to be a little bit more here, a little bit more there. That's fine. It's still, you're 10 minutes into this coaster and you're just adding a little bit more color here or there. You let it dry as you move on to the next coaster. And then you rinse them off. It's just easier that way. Like, that's going to pop out a little bit more. So you could seriously sit there, and I have some of you that have bought multiple sets of coasters for me, which I love. Thank you very much. Hi, Polly. And why do you rinse it off? So when I had it here, when I had it on this one, the paint had been so thick, like it literally was just like, it was a bunch of different like gloopy paint. I sit there, I re-wet it, and I pat it down because I don't want all the paint to bleed, but I need it to be a little bit cleaner than it is. This is just so the paint gets in here. So I'll show you tomorrow why we rinse it off. A little more orange in this one. Need some more orange right here. But see how much easier it is to apply once the paint's actually been sitting? Because it's not as watery. Now I'm going to go back in here and grab this brown and just go back down here. Back up right here. Right here. So, you see I've got paint everywhere, right? Like it's all in the black spots. Just put that there. It's all where it's not carved at all. I want that to be cleaner. And so that's why we do a rinse and a pat. If you were sitting there and being super, super careful, like right here with Thanksgiving, I've got brown all over that. I'm rinsing it and I'm patting it back and I'm doing a thing, and I'll show you guys what I mean tomorrow with that. I'm doing that in order to get more paint off that black, and then I'll show you guys how it lets me make sure that I've gotten all my spots, number one. And then it also lets me see, did I want that color there? Do I need more color here? And then I'm going to show you guys how you can take the brush, even after you've done the rinse and pat, and take a damp brush, not a sopping wet brush, but a damp brush, and go into like where the G is. And like, I'm going to show you guys how it's easy to clean up. That makes sense. Let's see. Anything else? Okay. So these are not going to dry within the next 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let these dry. Hold on. I actually feel like I want that buckle to be red, I think. Now this red is the first color that I put water in, and I put way too much water in it. So it's taken some time to soak in. It's super thick now. I don't know if I can hold it. Can you guys see how much thicker it is? So it definitely doesn't bleed as much. This was exactly what it was like when I did it on the leaves. And so when I was blooping it down on the leaves, it was literally, it was staying. It wasn't soaking in to the point where I could see that it was soaking in, but I couldn't see any of the leaf details. They were literally all covered up. So that makes sense. Okay. Just grab a little more of this orange. No, I don't know if I want the orange. I think I want the red. I'm just going to do that there. I don't even know what that is because, again, test coaster. So anyway, I'm going to get that brown out of that blue. Not that it's going to matter a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and get off for tonight. And then we'll come back tomorrow and I'll show you guys how we rinse and wipe, because we're not taking the paper towel and wiping it this way. We're taking the paper towel after we get it wet. We're taking the paper towel and putting it on top and then like not moving the paper towel around just so it soaks up the wetness. So this one now I have to do the blue again. And then this one I will show you guys how to do that tomorrow. Like just do the cleanup part of that. But then you guys are going to have to wait because then I have to wait to shade them. But I do want to try and see if I can't get to at least starting to shade one truck tomorrow. I actually need to leave these open so these dry up. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to get to that yet because I still have windows and stuff that I have to paint. Um, and then I do want to work on that special project that I'm trying to do for you guys for eyes. So, oh, hello. Flip it back up. Turn it back around. Flip it back up. Turn it back around. So I don't know if it's going to be live. Not going to lie. Might just be a video. Life is messy and so is my craft space. But I will do a video, show you guys that part of it. We will get to shading at least one of them, hopefully before we all go back to work on Tuesday. But I do really want to try and get some of these trucks ready to shade because I also want to get to showing you guys how to do the flower arrangements. So here's some of the flowers that I'll be using in one of my trucks. So I appreciate you too, Marianne. Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you all for don't forget, just go invite anybody you know who likes to somebody can crochet. My daughter-in-law crochets. She's got stuff up on the website. She's amazing. I should have worn my birthday gift from her. She made me this really beautiful kind of cardigan, it's beautiful. I'll have to wear it. So she crochets. That's art, right? So invite people over here. Would love to see how other people do things. I'm going to be doing a lot of demos, different things, the jewelry, the lasering, all of the things. So invite people away. Come watch us. Share your stuff. Tell everyone else to invite people. I would just love it to be a place where we can all just collaborate and share and teach each other is what I'd really love. Okay, that is it. You're welcome, Myra. You're welcome, Polly. You're welcome, Wendy. Okay, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you all so much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And we'll have fun tomorrow. Thanks.